What would you do if your every word, thought, and action were controlled by a ruthless regime? Imagine living in a country where your every move is monitored, where speaking out against the government could mean imprisonment or death, and where access to the outside world is a forbidden dream. This is the everyday life of over 26 million people in North Korea. The leader, Kim Jong-un, is treated like a god by many, thanks to non-stop propaganda and tight control over information. For most people in the country, the idea of life beyond the borders feels like an impossible dream. But some are brave enough to risk everything for a chance at freedom. North Korea's split from South Korea is a story that goes back in history. It involves old traditions, being ruled by Japan, and the terrible Korean War. All of this has shaped what North Korea is like today, a country with one of the harshest governments in the world. So, how did North Korea turn into such an oppressive place? And what do its people go through to escape? Let's explore the amazing stories of those who find the courage to break free and risk their lives for a better future. For more than 1,000 years, Korea existed as a unified kingdom, with its own unique culture and traditions. This unity came to a sudden end in 1910 when Korea was occupied by Japan. Under Japanese colonial rule, Koreans suffered extreme oppression, their culture was suppressed, and their resources were exploited for Japan's imperial goals. This harsh era lasted until 1945 when Japan was defeated in World War II. After the war, Korea was divided at the 38th parallel into two occupation zones. The Soviet Union controlled the north, while the United States took charge of the south. Initially, this division was meant to be temporary, intended as a step towards reunification. However, ideological differences between the superpowers deepened the split. In 1948, two separate governments emerged. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is North Korea led by Kim Il-sung, supported by the Soviets, and the Republic of Korea, which is South Korea, aligned with the United States. The Korean War from 1950 to 1953 solidified this division. North Korea launched an invasion of the South, aiming to unify the peninsula under communist rule. The war was devastating, resulting in millions of casualties. It ended in 1953 with a ceasefire, but no peace treaty was signed, leaving the two Koreas technically still in conflict. This war not only deepened the ideological divide, but also laid the foundation for the ongoing oppressive regime in North Korea. Kim Il-sung, North Korea's founding leader, shaped the country into a hermit kingdom. He introduced the ideology of Juche, or self-reliance, which isolated North Korea from the rest of the world, including its allies. Juche glorified Kim as the eternal president and positioned the state as the ultimate authority. The regime's propaganda machine ensured that rebellion was unthinkable. Kim's rule was marked by strict control over every aspect of life. The government monitored citizens through a network of informants, suppressing any hint of opposition. Education and media were tools for brainwashing, portraying Kim and his successors as unfailing leaders. Even after Kim Il-sung's death in 1994, this oppressive system continued under his son Kim Jong-il and later his grandson Kim Jong-un. Economic mismanagement and international sanctions have worsened the dilemma of North Koreans. Basic necessities like food and medicine are scarce. Despite this, the regime pours resources into its military and nuclear weapons program, using these as tools to maintain its grip on power and negotiate with the outside world. The population's suffering is immense, but fear and isolation keep most people from challenging the regime or even dreaming of escape. The 1990s brought one of North Korea's darkest periods. The difficult March, a devastating famine that claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands, if not millions. This crisis was caused by a combination of economic mismanagement, loss of Soviet support, and natural disasters. The government's response was miserably insufficient, and food became limited. People resorted to eating grass, tree bark, and even soil to survive. During this time, the rigid control of the state began to crack slightly. The desperation drove many North Koreans to flee the country in search of food and freedom. The famine created underground markets, or Jangmadang, where people traded goods and information. These markets became lifelines for survival and opened the door for rebels to learn about the outside world. Despite the risks, thousands attempted to escape during this period. Those caught were subjected to brutal punishment, including execution or imprisonment in labor camps. However, the famine planted the seeds of defiance. For many, the will to survive outweighed the fear of punishment, leading to a rise in defections. The famine was a turning point that showed the regime's inability to care for its people and highlighted the lengths North Koreans would go to for a chance at a better life. The stories of North Korean defectors are tales of unimaginable bravery. One of the most dramatic escapes occurred in November 2017 when a soldier named Oh Chung-song defected through the demilitarized zone, one of the most fortified borders in the world. He drove a military jeep towards the border before abandoning it and sprinting across under a hail of gunfire. Despite being shot multiple times, he collapsed on the South Korean side and was rescued by soldiers. His escape, captured on security cameras, highlighted the extreme risks defectors face. Others have escaped by sea, braving rough waters and patrols. In 2007, a North Korean family crossed the Sea of Japan in a small wooden boat, enduring 6 days at sea with limited supplies. Their successful escape to Japan brought attention to the desperation of those fleeing the regime. Defectors who escape through China face additional challenges. China considers them illegal immigrants and has an agreement with North Korea to deport defectors, often leading to severe punishment or death. Despite this, some manage to evade capture and find freedom in South Korea or other countries. These stories of escape are testaments to the human spirit's resilience and the lengths people will go to for freedom. Technology and underground networks have played pivotal roles in helping North Koreans escape the oppressive regime. While the government imposes strict controls on information, smuggled cell phones and USB drives loaded with foreign media have become lifelines. These tools expose citizens to the realities of the outside world, igniting a desire for freedom. Escapees often use GPS-enabled devices to navigate unfaithful land or communicate with brokers who facilitate their escape. Some risk everything to cross the Tumen River into China, while others seek the help of international networks that smuggle them through third countries like Thailand or Laos. However, this path is tense with danger. If caught, defectors face severe punishments. Despite these challenges, technological advancements and the courage of underground activists have made successful escapes more frequent. These efforts are a testament to the resilience and resourcefulness of the North Korean people and those who risk their lives to help them. By shedding light on the intricate web of technology, smuggling, and bravery, we can better understand the complex realities of escaping North Korea. It's a reminder that even in the darkest regimes, the human spirit continues to find ways to break free. In recent years, escaping North Korea has become even more difficult. Under Kim Jong-un's leadership, border security has been tightened with increased fencing, CCTV surveillance, and landmines. The COVID-19 pandemic further restricted movement, as North Korea sealed its borders completely. These measures have drastically reduced the number of defectors, with fewer than 100 people escaping annually since 2020. China's advanced surveillance system and cooperation with North Korea have also made it harder for defectors to find refuge. Many are caught and forcibly returned, facing harsh punishment upon their return. The regime's control over sea activities has similarly limited escape by sea, with most boats being unsuitable for long journeys. Despite these challenges, the dream of freedom persists. Underground networks and human rights organizations continue to help defectors escape and resettle in countries like South Korea. The stories of those who succeed inspire hope and bring global attention to the plight of North Koreans. These brave individuals remind the world of the enduring struggle for freedom and the resilience of the human spirit. The story of North Korea is one of oppression, resilience, and hope. From its historical division to its current regime, the country's history is marked by hardship and struggle. Yet, even in the face of such extreme oppression, the human desire for freedom shines through. As the world learns more about life in North Korea through these stories, it becomes clearer that change is needed. International attention and support for defectors can bring awareness to the plight of those still trapped within the regime. While escaping North Korea remains one of the most dangerous journeys imaginable, the bravery of those who undertake it continues to inspire hope for a brighter future. Thank you for watching. Let's think, discover, and grow together.